Hi, my name's Dr. Ross Hauser. Welcome to the Hauser Neck Center here in Fort Myers, Florida, here with Michael, who I've known pretty much about a year. And he's from Philadelphia,
Yep.
and he has a lot of energy, so he's going to exude this on this video. But I was telling him, I just don't know if I've ever done a video, or we've never done a video on suffocation, but it's actually a pretty common symptom that we see here at the Hauser Neck Center, and we have a lot of success at treating it. So I felt, you guys would probably find this video very, very interesting. So Michael, thank you for your willingness to share your story. So why don't you go back to before I even saw you, when did that start? And if you could describe it to people, what did it feel like?
So all of these symptoms started when I was like 14, 15. So I've been dealing with this for over 20 years.
Okay, so you're in your 30s now?
Yes, I'm 37 now.
Okay,
yeah.
yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
It has been a wild ride, but essentially my biggest complaint when I came to you was that I was suffocating in my sleep, and in a really interesting manner where it was only upon first falling asleep, almost like going into that REM state or what have you. And I'll just act it out maybe a little bit, but I would sleep or lay down to fall asleep, and as soon as I would go and jump up trying to get air, like something was being cut off.
And then you saw a bunch of doctors before here, right?
Too many to count,
yeah,
honestly.
Too many. And then did they eventually say that they thought it was in your head or something?
They alluded to the fact that I was because to be honest with you, I'd been in really good shape all this time, and I was kind of fighting against these symptoms. I didn't know what I was fighting against until I came to see you.
Often in the office here, I often say, or on these YouTube videos, that most people have a lot of different symptoms, and it's almost like the more symptoms a person has, the more likely it is the next. So did you have other, because I'm sure you probably had some other symptoms, right?
Oh, sorry.
Why don't you go through the gamut of symptoms? But your number one thing you wanted help with was the suffocating.
The suffocation, yes.
Because obviously you need to get a good night's sleep, and then you start worrying, like, geez, am I going to, not be able to breathe
Am
in
I
my sleep?
not going to wake up again? Yes, honestly.
So what other symptoms did you end up having?
Okay, so one of the other biggest things for me was palpitations 24/7,
okay,
like heart and diaphragmatic, I guess, or just
yeah.
Right below the chest area, just palpitations of it almost felt like the aorta, I guess,
okay.
in that region. And it was like 24/7. So just picture for over 20 plus years that, your entire life was like from the second you actually did get some sleep to the second you woke up, your body was like this. With every heartbeat, like boom. Yeah, I could see the pulsing in my vision. It was almost like if I had to describe it, almost like a sonar vision. With every heartbeat, you could see it in your vision. It was wild. Yeah.
And they never found an explanation for that, too?
No, they again kind of alluding to the fact that I was crazy.
Okay.
A lot of tests came up negative. I went to I'll try to go down the list as best I can. First doctor I went to when I was like 15 was like a cardiologist. I went to a lung specialist for breathing issues, allergist. Trying to think. I had 2 sleep apnea tests done. Both came up essentially negative. The first one was like mild sleep apnea, but I was weightlifting differently at that point, and my diet was different, so my neck was like thicker. But it was like mild. Even with a CPAP with mild sleep apnea at that time in my early 20s, I was drinking a lot of beer and stuff.
Well, part of it is you had to do it. Didn't you have to drink a little bit to just get rid of the anxiety and the...
That, yeah, I mean,
it was almost
to
like
a degree I thought
therapeutic.
that would help, but that just obviously made things
Okay.
worse down the line. Yeah, so even with a CPAP machine, I suffocated. So that led me down a bigger rabbit hole. Anyway, in my mid-20s, I wound up going through a bunch of GI specialists. They told me my LES never closed.
Okay. Your lower esophageal sphincter wasn't closing.
Yes, at all. I had one of those motility studies.
That was good to know.
It was good to know. And they're like, oh, you have a lot of motor function issues. So I wound up doing a lot of my own research afterwards, eventually leading to you.
Yeah, so you realized probably vagus nerve.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So I'm sure they tried some different medications, but it didn't work.
Nothing worked. Okay. And again, eventually it came to a point where they were just saying maybe it's all in your head. And I knew in my heart that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me.
What made you think it might be a neck issue?
Thanks to your videos, like the one that we're recording now, I thought it was a vagus nerve thing. And understanding through educational videos such as yours and other guys that I've watched that it runs down around here, I started using a TENS unit on my neck. No doctor told me to do this. I was actually advised against it by a doctor. They were kind of like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing something to try to help myself because I haven't had any help. No one could help me. So it actually improved my digestion, because that was one of my other symptoms, was just slow digestion and bloating, and not from gas, because I went on an all carnivore diet and there's no carbohydrates to cause bacteria or backup or gas. It was just undigested contents.
Okay.
No matter what kind of diet I was on.
Okay. Wow.
So using TENS units with a specific frequency, which I learned from another YouTube video, I was able to successfully stimulate my vagus nerve enough to move my food better. Not perfect, but better.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Yep.
And then tell us about, your treatment here and how you're doing. And
so much better. I would say at this point, I got some more treatments to go. I'd say about 80% better. Mm-hmm. All the symptoms, blanket across the board, all better.
Yeah, and then what treatment did you get, and what things did we tell you to do?
Prolotherapy, a lot of neck curve correction. So it does involve a lot on your part to keep your neck up, chin up, retract your neck a little bit, try to stay in, I guess, this kind of posture.
Yeah, good posture.
As best as I can. And the prolotherapy has greatly helped with my cervical curve coming back. I just saw that in the x-ray from today. So I'm really excited to keep going.
Oh, awesome. That's great. So you're saying that, like you were mentioning that sensation, so that's a lot better.
Yes.
The pulsating sensation.
Oh, the palpitations actually specifically have gone down a ton.
Okay.
Almost non-existent at this point.
Your digestion's better.
Way better.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. And then since I've been treating you, you've still been able to work, right?
Yes, I was actually able to go back to work. I was out for 7 months, and I found you, and thank God I found you.
No, that's awesome.
It's the best thing that's happened to me. So.
And what would you just say of people that, they have chronic problems? The doctors seem to indicate they can't find anything. What would your message be to them?
I'm not trying to gloat, but I know I'm in good shape, and I've kept myself that way for a long time. And despite how much I've kept myself in shape, you can still have a structural issue, and it can be totally misdiagnosed by most mainstream doctors that you would see. So I would say, if you've done everything, if you've changed your diet, you've watched your weight, your blood sugars are great, whatever, you've done all these things and you still have an issue, it could be structural. A basic x-ray might not catch it. I had a digital motion x-ray with you. You diagnosed all of my issues, 20 years of suffering, 20 years plus of suffering in 2 hours with simple machinery that you can get at most of these places, but they don't know how to use it. And
that's kind of true.
Yeah, so all I can say to anybody watching this video is if you feel like you lost all hope, don't lose all hope. There's a lot of other avenues you can take, this being one. Dr. Ross Hauser has the know-how, not just the tech, but he's got the know-how to diagnose deeper issues that you won't find at a regular run-of-the-mill hospital, doctor's office. So don't lose hope. And again, if you have done everything possible, dietary changes, exercise, what have you, and you're still having problems, get your neck checked, get your spine checked. Nerves and little things being out of whack can throw your entire body off. So that's what I've discovered through my own research and through seeing Dr. Hauser and seeing the test that he's given me. So again, just don't lose hope.
Oh, that's a great message. I was just thinking about you because I just have a feeling, not to predict or think about what you did in your youth, but just, this is an interesting question. Because, were you surprised when we did the digital motion x-ray that, you basically had a broken neck? And then, and then my question is, were you like a kamikaze kid where you were doing like all kinds of crazy stuff, like mountain biking or football or something, where you might have actually injured your neck pretty significantly when you were a teenager, like to have the symptoms start?
It's possible. Because when I was 10, I was slammed directly on the back of my head when I was playing football. It was almost like power bomb style.
Okay.
This kid just like picked me up and like threw me kind of over his shoulders.
Yeah.
It could have jumbled things up enough where the ligaments started to have that instability. So
because ligaments, because they're so white, they actually don't have a great repairability.
Right.
And then because your body tightens up, so your body can limit the damage, if you will, to a certain extent, but it's still slowly going to progress. And probably one of the reasons why you came to is something's wrong because the symptoms actually progress.
Yes.
Probably over the course of 22 years, it's like it started out with this. Like if we did your whole progression. And then,
I'm sorry, I can talk about other symptoms too that progressed as time went on.
Yeah.
Raynaud's phenomenon.
Okay.
In my hands where the blood would pool from my fingers and my fingers would turn pale white. For no reason, like a stress response.
Is that better too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Not perfect yet, but
what other symptoms?
Blurred in and out vision. Again, almost like a stress response where my body just couldn't, or my vision just couldn't focus in fast enough, whether I was like looking down at something and then looking forward. Yeah, a lot of blurred in and out vision.
Which, of course, initially you might not have had it, but then at some point it developed.
It just happened.
Yeah, because the neck structure gets worse and worse, starts blocking the jugular veins. And the more it blocks the jugular veins, the more you get blurred vision.
Which is what the testing showed that when you tested me for that, it absolutely showed that. It was definitely, at one point, if I recall properly, you were saying at some point when I was turning my neck to the left that it cut my jugular completely. My C2 vertebrae sliding out of alignment caused that to cut off.
Yeah.
Which would explain another symptom, the mini blackouts. I used to get miniature blackouts, if I can describe to you real quick.
Ahead.
I might be at a supermarket, video game store. I'll never forget, I was at a GameStop, right? And I'm looking down at the bottom shelf to go pick up a video game, and I pick it up, and I'm with my daughter, and I have to pretend like nothing is wrong. And I blacked out just from that, almost like I was being choked out. So a really
you woke
crazy
up on
symptom.
the floor or something?
No, I blacked out while I was standing up, and then the colors kind of came back, and then I could see, but it took a few seconds.
Yeah, you couldn't see for.
Yeah, it was like a miniature blackout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the ophthalmic artery, when the ophthalmic artery goes into spasm, it's called amaurosis fugax, where. Yeah, for a few seconds, a minute, you could not actually see. It's
scary.
That's got to be so scary.
It was scary. very, very random, too. I only had like maybe a handful.
Yeah.
But it was like, I guess if my neck was in a certain position, plus kneeling down and like the blood flow change, whatever was happening just caused that. It was very, very weird.
That's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Well, I'm sure this video is going to help a lot of people.
I hope it
thank
does.
you so much, and look forward to getting you all the way better. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
You saved my future. Without you, I feel like I would have had a half life. I would have been on disability, and it just would have been a weird situation where I'm in shape on the outside, but thank God for you and your testing and everything. But I would have never found out what was going on inside, and it was again. I would tell anybody watching this video, don't lose hope. There are way deeper tests that can be done, things that most doctors won't do, and Dr. Rosshauser is one of those doctors. So please don't lose faith in yourself. Don't lose hope. There are so many avenues you can take, and this is another one.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.